Welcome back to Gaming Wisconsin. Once again, it is not Halloween this time. It's totally Christmas.
See?
In New Year's, decorations, right? Christmas cheer. Today we're bringing you three pretty much Christmassy winter games.
Wintry games.
We have Batman Returns, which is totally set in Christmas time.
It is.
Nailed that one.
That's legitimate.
Snowboard Kids, which is a snowboarding game, close enough. And Snow Brothers, lots of snow.
It's Frosty the Snowman goes medieval on some people.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's like Frosty the Snowman Bubble Bobble.
Yeah,
And that's the one we're going to start with first, is Snow Brothers on Nintendo. I just played this today, so I'm going to start off with the plot of this one. You are Nick and Tom, not to be confused with Bimmy and Jimmy, and you're totally battling... You're not even battling. So there's an enemy, King Scorch, who's the fire guy to your ice. He curses you and your brother, who are princes, I guess, and turns you into snowmen, and then steals your princess. Two princesses, like matching princesses with matching brothers.
Yep.
Weird thing going on there.
Yeah.
And then you're basically just trying to rescue him.
So it's basically the story of Bubble Bobble.
Is that what that was, too?
Pretty much.
Huh. Well, there you go.
It plays a lot like Bubble Bobble.
Yeah.
It is basically Bubble Bobble set in wintertime.
Yeah.
The only thing is, you never really battled King Scorch,
No, not really.
so that was kind of a letdown. But basically, you just go level to level, in Bubble Bobble style. You turn the enemies that spawn into snowballs, and you try... You can just basically kill them Bubble Bobble style, and you just throw them into a wall and it kills them. Or, if you want to rack up points and get special power-ups, you'll turn one guy into a snowball, and you'll basically push them into a bunch of other enemies. Enemies that die that way have a better chance of basically dropping a special power-up. Mm-hmm. The power-ups are immensely powerful in this game.
Yeah.
One gives you speed, the other gives you a stronger attack. One gives you a longer attack, and they all stack, by the way.
I think one's more rapid fire, too.
Maybe a little bit, yeah. And then there's one that turns you into a giant balloon, and you one-hit kill enemies.
Collect everything, too.
Yeah. So what'd you guys think of it?
It was pretty good. It was a Bubble Bobble clone.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like there was a fair number of games in the arcade, at least, that were cloned. They were trying to recapture that magic, and not all of them were. I'd say very few of them were quite as good, but they're all pretty enjoyable generally.
I thought it was a really fun game.
Yeah.
It definitely felt like Bubble Bobble. I think I actually like this better than I liked Bubble Bobble. Being able to do those combo attacks and just like knock everybody out and then collect all the money that just like cashed up. I wish the money would stick around a little bit longer.
Yeah,
it was almost impossible. I don't think I ever collected all of them.
It's kind of a normal thing.
Are you talking about the money, or are you talking about like the fruit that drops?
No, the money.
Those
money at the end.
Yeah, those disappear
when you collect, when you knock all of them out with one attack.
Yeah, and I like how a lot of the levels are sloped, where you can, the snowballs will intentionally go in certain patterns where they're more likely to hit multiple enemies. Not all the levels are like that, but a lot of them are.
Some of those enemies were a pain in the ass. Shooting.
So there's maybe, I want to say,
5 or so different enemy types.
Somewhere between 5 and 8 enemy types in this game.
Yeah.
Most of them are pretty basic. They just move left or right and go up and down, and that's about it.
They shoot knives or blasts of fire or whatever.
Yeah, there's the ninja guys that are blue. They turn into tornadoes and are untargetable, which sucks. And they also throw knives randomly.
We really gotta wait for that timeout for the tornado guys. And he's coming at you and like, stop!
Yeah. So you gotta make sure you're
stuck.
you gotta make sure you're not by the edge of a screen when they start spawning.
Well, in some of the levels, because you can't go to it from like the left to the right. You hit the edge of the screen. And some of the levels, if you get in a certain area, you can't jump out again. It's not like Bubble Bobble where you can bounce on bubbles. Like sometimes when you're in a certain space, you're stuck there. And so there's some levels where you get stuck, and eventually the enemies will all work their way to you, and you can turn them into snowballs and kill them. But sometimes if it's like the tornado guy, they'll come in and you can't get away. They'll kill you.
No.
And that's somewhere in the like 30s to 40s.
Yeah.
Somewhere in those they have pits, essentially. They'll totally screw you over.
The wall's a little too high for you to jump over, and you're just kind of stuck there waiting to see if the enemies come close enough for you to get them or not.
And that's, again, like, it's kind of hard not to make comparisons to Bubble Bobble the entire time.
Right.
But it has a thing, so once you clear a screen, then you basically jump up to the next screen, and you can kind of see the layout before you spawn.
Right.
And you're also invincible for like 3 seconds-ish after you spawn. So, if you see an area that you'll know is going to be kind of hard to get to, you just jump to it immediately while you're still invincible to grab an enemy that's in there.
Yeah, and if you can get up high into the screen very quickly, and then you can put a snowball at the very top and throw it down and start to get a bunch of guys right away. The sooner you can do that, usually the better.
That's usually kind of hard to do. But you totally can.
Yeah. You can actually hit guys with the snow as you climb just once or twice just to stun them, basically, and then just leave them, and then they're less likely to follow you up and get in your way.
Yeah.
Good practice.
Yeah.
Yep.
Gotta love that timeout, though. If you are on the level for too long,
Pumpkin Dude.
Demons come
again, like Bubble Bobble. It's not the angry ghost guy. Instead, it's an angry pumpkin.
Yeah, in Bubble Bobble, it was Baron von Blubba.
Well, there's more in the pumpkin guy. There was a.
I thought it was just the pumpkin.
No, there's a.
He shoots out the ghosts.
Yeah. There's ghosts come with him.
And the ghosts you can't actually get rid of. The pumpkin guy you can actually get rid of.
Okay.
You can hit him.
I didn't have much luck hitting
disappear.
him. Yeah.
He does go away, but then he starts summoning these ghosts that you can't get rid of, and they actually like track you around the map, and you'll die.
Yeah, if you take too long, he will come and kill you. But
yeah.
Usually the only time that happens is if you're stuck in a pit or something, or if you're really dinking around. Like, if you're trying to just set up that perfect combo, you know?
Sometimes you can do it.
Yeah.
Game's pretty easy.
Yeah. I mean, especially if you're not trying, which the last time I played it I wasn't.
Yeah.
You have I think 2 lives or 3 lives with your base life and 2 extra lives, and then you have 10 continues. You may or may not be able to get extra continues. That was a little hazy.
You can get extra lives.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can get extra continues.
But even if you're not really trying, it's not that hard to get through all 50-ish levels for a standard ending. Some of the bosses take a lot of lives if you're not paying attention, but the rest of the game, unless you're trying to set up combos, like you can, if you play it real safe and just one hit people, or if you get your power-ups and then just play it safe, it's not hard.
I did notice every boss does have a place where you can stand and never get hit.
Right.
Oh.
And you're supposed to hit the bosses with snowballs, but apparently you can also just hit them with your snow directly, which makes a tink sound, which normally on the NES means it's not doing damage, but here it means it's doing damage, which is really confusing. But it takes like way more hits to kill them that way than to hit them with snowballs. So it's easier just to snowball. They usually shoot out enemies, and then you snowball the enemies and hit them.
Yeah, but sometimes there's like times where you can't actually shoot enemies into them, so you just sat there and like your hands will actually get tired because you're like, this game is kind of made for a turbo controller.
It's a turbo game, yeah.
But I mean, it's easily beatable without one. It just is a lot less hand strain if you do it with the turbo.
Right.
But yeah, that's essentially what it is. I mean, it's only 50 levels.
Yeah.
Including 5 bosses.
Yeah. Apparently, there's some extra levels with a hidden. There's like a hidden way to get to some extra levels, and there's, I think, maybe a different ending, which I didn't explore yet.
From what I read, there's a different ending if you don't use any of your continues.
That might be it.
Which seems totally doable.
Yeah, you just have to be cautious.
Yeah.
Don't while they're setting up the combos, just one hit kill people.
Or once you just get your like 3 power-ups, you're essentially God at that time unless you make a mistake.
Yeah, you just have to be careful when you're jumping up not to jump into people, and you have to be careful about the guys that shoot things.
There's a giant sumo guy that spawns at some point.
Yeah, he
throws little snowballs at you.
Yeah, he just stays at the top. You can't kill him. He just shoots out snow, or shock waves or whatever it is, and you just have to dodge them. You just ignore him until you get the rest of the guys.
He's like Donkey Kong.
Some of them, those guys will sit up at the top, and you got to wait till they come down. Which is annoying.
Yeah.
That's always like the trolls will just climb all around. Just wait there sometimes. Whoa.
So I mean, the game's got decent graphics. It's definitely downgraded from the arcade. The sound isn't quite as good. The graphics aren't quite as good, but it's very playable. The gameplay's fine. Yeah. You know, you can try the Genesis version. That's a lot closer to the arcade, and it's harder because the guys move faster and the sprites are bigger and whatnot. But this is still a pretty good version.
I think it's a fun game. I have nothing like overly negative to say about it. The music is totally forgettable, which kind of sucks because like you think of Bubble Bobble and that's all you think about is that goddamn music. Just can't get it out of your head.
Yeah.
This unfortunately I can't remember a single track in the game.
They're not bad.
I mean it's music.
Yeah.
Even though the very end credits, I don't know if maybe my version just sucks, but there's like no music at the very end credits.
I don't remember any either.
It's kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
I always like that end credit music where it just makes you feel happy about beating it.
You've conceded.
It's just silent with credits.
You're a winner.
Just a silent treatment.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of sucks
Yeah.
from such a happy game, but that's about all there really is to it. I mean, it's an arcade game. Essentially, it's an arcade port.
It's a decent arcade port.
It is expensive as balls. I would
For
not.
no reason.
It's rare.
It was really late on the NES, wasn't
I
it?
think it's 91.
Yeah, fairly late. Yeah. Not the last year, but one of the last years.
So it's a very hard to find game. I rented it as a kid, and like a few years ago, I'm like, I'd really like that Snow Brothers game that I played as a kid. Then I looked on eBay, I'm like, motherfucker. The same with Kid Dracula. That's another one where it's like, oh, that must be cheap. I'm just gonna buy it. Like, son of a bitch, it's $90. The fuck.
Yeah.
This is like anywhere from 150 to 200, depending on condition. So, wouldn't recommend buying it on the NES, but I do recommend playing it if you choose an emulator or something like that.
Okay.
The bosses, pretty easy. They're
Yeah.
basically bullet sponges, but like I said, there's one place where you can just stand for every single boss, and it's really hard to die.
There's certain places you can stand if you're not careful that they'll appear and shoot you and kill you right away. But you know where those spots are, and just don't stand there. And it's fine.
After fighting him once, you get the pattern.
The end boss is annoying because he just takes a gazillion hits. It's got a head on either side of the screen, and you're just shooting them or throwing snowballs at them. And they shoot bubbles out constantly that if you're standing in front of them, they grab you and take you up toward the spikes at the top of the screen, and you have to hit the bubbles enough times to pop them before you hit that.
Or you left, right, I think works too.
And some of the bubbles they shoot out have power-ups or enemies in them.
Yep.
Which I think the only way you can get the power-ups is if you're in the bubble when you get caught in it, because otherwise you don't have enough time to hit them before as they go past to pop them.
What I noticed in that fight is I just ended up with a ton of power-ups just by playing the fight.
Because when you hit in the bubble, if it has a power-up already in it, then you get that power-up.
Right, so you don't even have to try, you'll get the power-ups.
Yeah, you just have to avoid the enemies and the fire that comes out of the bubbles.
And the fire is so easy to avoid. The enemies can be a little tricky here and there because they're fast, but, I mean...
It's mostly I think the only time I ever got killed is when you're in a bubble and you're trying to get yourself out, but there's fire underneath. You can't always control where you land.
I somehow never got trapped with that.
Yeah, but the boss is so long that sometimes it takes a while and that happens to you once or twice.
It's like a 5-minute fight, and I don't think there's any way to make it faster.
I think hitting him with snowballs is faster than hitting him with your attacks directly.
Yeah, but you can only hit them with so many snowballs at a time.
Yeah, you can only do it when there are enemies on the screen. Yeah.
So turbo controller end boss for sure.
Yeah.
But
and you have to hit both sides of the screen. Both sides have to be killed separately.
Yeah, and you have so many lives. I mean, even if you suck at it, you should be able to beat it.
Yeah.
There are a couple secrets in that game. I think there's a secret stage or something that you can prompt.
Yeah, there's the little.
I did that once.
The little snowball face icon that pops up that you can, and it pops these 3 little blobby enemies that if you kill them, you get extra power ups and stuff. And there's a few interesting things. It's kind of like Bubble Bobble.
Yeah, so you get little arcade secrets and stuff in there too.
And there's the Mario 2 style gambling thing at the end of each stage.
Oh,
or the
that's
end of so many
right.
the boss stages. That's what it was.
To give my mini review, because that's basically the entire game in a nutshell.
Yeah.
I'm pressed somewhere between a 2.5 and a 3, just because it's a lot shallower than I remembered as a kid. I'll give it a 3 because it's not bad enough to go in the 2 range, but
I'd give it a 3. It's painfully average.
Yeah, and you feel like it could just be so much better with a couple different things in there, but
if Bubble Bobble didn't exist, I might rate it higher, but it does, and that's a solid 4.
Bubble Bobble's just better, but this one has snow people.
Yeah, I give it the same.
Yeah.
3.